You might be surprised by the first domesticated animal. It's not cows or pigs, chickens, goats or sheep. The answer is much more complicated than that. So let's go back in time a little. The period we're in right now is the Neolithic. In archaeology, it signifies the slow and gradual change of hunting and gathering to farming across much of the Europe, Asia and African landscape, a broader lifestyle change happening in response to the end of the Ice Age. The melting of large sheets of ice and the warming of our planet. It is also a period where ritual burials given to dogs become exceedingly common over most of the world. If we were to pinpoint a time and period where our love for our four-legged companions began, it would be around here. We can tell by this time that dogs are fully domesticated from wolves. We can see it in their anatomy. Their skull is shorter and proportionally wide. Their teeth are notably different, particularly in their canines, which are reduced in size. All signs of animal domestication. It can also be seen in their DNA. A fully domesticated animal that will be around to see the domestication of our farm animals. And therefore, this marks dogs as our actual first domesticated animal. However, we are in the Neolithic right now, and by this point, dogs have clearly been domesticated for a while now. There is still a long history involved that transformed these dogs from their ancestors of wolves, and to understand this, we need to turn the clock back even further. The importance for dog domestication is surrounded by several mysteries in archaeology, namely when and how did this domestication happen? The divergence is agreed to have happened around 32,000 and 11,000 to 16,000 years ago, two set dates. The first refers to an archaeological presence of dogs and also a genetic presence, and the other to artificial breeding by humans of dogs. However, it's important to note that evidence of dogs are not found around these times in every habitable environment. In the Americas, dogs don't arrive until much later. By this point in time, dogs were reproducing isolated from wolves, but how did it happen is a different story. The theory that we domesticated wolves into dogs is one of the oldest theories put forth to explain dogs. That wolf pups were either captured or taken, fed and nurtured, and have become reliant on humans for food. Though they would have been free to roam, since wolves tend to remain near food sources, they would have remained close by and friendly with the people that were feeding them. Associated artifacts and cave paintings provide some evidence for this, though a lot of the proof for this theory comes from ethnographic historical accounts. It is seen that wolves can feed directly from humans, that is, hand to hand, and can behave like domesticated dogs. They will start to associate feeding areas, follow humans, and inspect human belongings. It can also be seen that these wolves can pass this information down for several generations. Of course, over time, this would have changed the wolf's behaviour, and indeed would have changed how we perceive wolves as well. There are several reasons put forth into why our ancestors may have wanted wolves. Some include to aid in hunting, as guards, or as food. But the most simplistic answer may have just been as pets and companions. Our early ancestors may have just found pups cute and enjoyed the benefits of raising them, intentionally breeding them for tameness, which would then create the dog. This selection would have created different coat colours, tail, and ears. The self-domestication theory centres around the fact that wolves may have domesticated themselves by keeping close to human encampments and taking from scrap piles, therefore creating a dependency of food from humans. There are only a few mathematical models that support this theory, one suggesting that if wolves surrounding the human encampments remained tamed due to dependency and then bred with one another, they may have domesticated themselves in about 8,000 years. After significant change, humans would then start to selectively breed them. However, there are some that challenge this, as there would have been a lack of sufficient food waste needed to support the wolves. Since wolf domestication happened while we were still hunting and gathering, there would have not been enough regular food dumps. Also taking into account the mutual distrust between both species, some authors agree it is unlikely dogs domesticated themselves. the multi-phase view is a relatively new theory. It kind of incorporates the two other theories and suggests that domestication happened in two phases. First, the wolves started to exploit the food waste produced by humans. By exploiting this waste, a dependency was formed which caused a relationship between wolves and humans to be formed. In the second phase, human and dog interaction began to select for behavioural differences, creating our social bonds. Though it could be suggested that the first phase would suffer similar arguments to the second theory. That is, that people didn't produce enough food waste. All these theories are still being put to the test. The race to understand dog domestication in archaeology is a big one where we could better understand the extent to which humans are actually affecting the fitness of the global ecosystem, an extremely important aspect to early human life. And if you were to ask me, signs point towards capturing and breeding. And now I would like to place a final image in your heads. So the first time we worked side by side with the wolf, perhaps that wolf was hunting with the person that originally raised it as a pet. But positives of using it in a way to hunt was too good to let up. You see the tracks left on the ground and look over to your companion who raises their head and sniffs the wind, looking towards the direction that the animal that they can smell is in. And they give one bark. The beginning of a long, long codependent relationship. This is when the dog barks.